Let's go. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Sorare Ramble. I say first episode this year, first episode in God knows how long. But we are back. I've been encouraged by a man who I thought was on the show today. Unfortunately, he's not. It's half term in the UK, so all the wee nippers are off, which means he's got his young lad Mark, and he didn't want to come on. Although Mark probably would have had better takes than me, so you never know. But anyway, I've got an expert in the MLS. We thought about getting Deke, we thought about getting Gator Guy, Harry Trades, they're big names, but we wanted a true Ramble expert, and the MLS Ramble expert is the one, the only Hatton. He has not been around. He's had a wee nipper since the last time we saw him. That was on the MFL Ramble. He's been concentrating on Sorare a lot recently, and I'm very happy that he's joined us this week. How are you, Hatton?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm not sure about the expert title. Hopefully, people still think that at the end of the show. But yeah, all good here. Very excited for real football to come back in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, as a lot of the watchers or people that are around, the people that I'd seen a big Mr. K when MFL Ramble. That's tomorrow. It's not today. Come back tomorrow. Although we're doing one this evening as well, 8 p.m. But we're talking Sorare today. As people might not know, or people on the Ramble will certainly know, that you're a big Newcastle fan and a big Minnesota fan, and you avidly follow the MLS pretty much every year since I've known you.
Yeah, I got into it when the eldest child of mine, came in, and I had to help out with night feeds and thought I need some live sport if I'm going to wake up for this. So that was about 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. Stumbled across MLS, and as I do with most things, I just then dove head first and tried to find out as much as I could about it as quickly as possible.
And it looks like, as we speak, that MLS cards are being queued up, not quite appearing yet. If anybody in the chat does see them before we got there, we've got Kerry Harrison in the chat, we've got Kev Hurd, and Big Mr. K just asking about MFL. But if they will go live. If someone notices that before that, then before I see them, then tell me, because I'd love to see sort of, what they look like. Guessing it's going to be the little chip design like it is for the in-season like Euro cards. So we're probably not going to get much, difference there. It'll be interesting to see how the prices go early on. Have you got any thoughts on how the prices might go early?
I think they're going to be excessive. I think I'm not sure we'll see it to the level of maybe what we saw last year, where you needed 5 in-season players. I think this season there's been a few more European transfers that have had cards, and some still kind of from last summer, where people have kind of collected them ready. So like myself, I think I've got 2 teams already without the in-season cards coming out, of people that I expect to play. So I think people have been more switched on to that, rather than waiting for the in-season cards. But I still think it'll probably be at the levels that we had Europe, if not more.
I'm trying to pull up sales data for Lionel Urinal, but it's not coming up for some reason. It's only going back a certain amount of time. But I don't understand quite why, unless I'm being an absolute buffoon. Don't understand why it's not coming out. But yeah, I remember right at the start of last year, the cards for MLS were just like going for absurd prices, and it actually put me off sort of getting into them to start off with. Eventually, I think I dove in and bought a rare side rather than limited, because the prices of limited were nearly as high as rare, and ended up winning the MLS Rare Comp first season. Oh, there we go. It has loaded up. It's probably just because it's so much data. Yeah, I mean, like, let's have a type. Let's work those out and just look at auctions. So Lionel auctions, Lionel Messi, Lionel Urinal, were going for over 200 right at the start. As you can see,
Yeah.
my balance is 221. I've got a little bit of credits. I've got more money coming in this evening, but if that is the same, then, and I probably expect it to be. What would you say? What would be your guess on like the number 2 of 1,000 limited Messi?
I actually think it will be higher than that this year. His classic is already going for about £80 to £90. Maybe because people want it for the smashers, but I think with the prices of kind of in-season goalkeepers last year and MLS goalkeepers, you can't really trust to keep clean sheets anytime. I think the actual smashers, the Messis, the Songs, the Dreyers will beat what they were last year. I think it'll be more the squad players that will level out to be a bit less than what they were last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the big guys, and obviously with being able to have a classic card does mean that, as you said, the classic Messes are going for sort of 70 quid or upwards at the moment. And then the rest of the cards you can sort of fill out with the in-season cards. We've got Kerry asking if there's one team, do you think you'd stack for streaks or leaderboards, which is the way to go? We'll get to that. We've got quite a few things to go through. I guess to start off with, is any changes this year that you think will have any sort of, are there any sort of like big signings? We'll talk about which ones might do well, but are there any big signings this season that you think have come into the league, which you think will have a massive impact?
Yeah. I've been surprised by a few that have come over. I think there's quite a few younger players now that are seeing the MLS as a place to come. I think years gone by, it was always the older players that come in, but this summer, this off season has definitely seen a lot of younger players. I think you've got like Griffin Yo, who is American, but he's come over from the Belgian league, Westerlo, where he was kind of one of their top players, but he's come into New England. He played under he's played under this manager before for the youth teams for USA, and absolutely he was fire for them. So I think between him and Carlos Hill, that's going to be a scary kind of attacking midfield partnership. So I think that's definitely one that I think that's come from outside the league that will do really well. Another one you've got St. Louis have always struggled for kind of like in their kind of back end of midfield. They've always been quite good going forwards with Klaus, who's left, but Marshall Hartel and stuff like that. But they've got a guy in from Aberdeen, Palvara, who could either play defence or midfield. I think he's going to be quite a strong player. He may not get the highest kind of SO5 scores or SO7 scores, but I think he's going to be a very good player for them. He's quite imposing, quite tall. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see how he fares with the change from Scotland to America.
Yeah, you're making me buy Griffin Yale right now, which I hate. I'm buying a New England Ford, Revs Ford, right out of the gate. It just feels like a big mistake, but I'll trust you, and then I can obviously mock you and blame you at a later date. So that's all good.
Yeah. I'll caveat with I'll only ever recommend people I've signed myself. So if he doesn't do well, it'll be both of us crying at least.
Yeah. So I've got him in through the door anyway. So I just I tend to start with, especially with the I'm expecting the price. Well, we're expecting the prices to be high. Everyone's expecting the prices to be high. I have a limited budget. I had a decent week last weekend, but I had to use some of the money for another product. So I have got a little bit of budget to get me off the ground. I've got all the decent classics. So that's not a worry. So I just want to get some teams off the ground and start streaking right from the start. And then I can sort of, expand the gallery as it goes on. I probably will stick to limited this season. But I said that last season and the prices of rares weren't that high. So we'll see. but this is what we're going to be playing for this season. So as people will know, or maybe won't know if they haven't sort of played MLS before, they've separated out streaks and leaderboards for the first time. I think they've said it's a test essentially, so they're going to do it for MLS. I guess they probably want to do it for Europe, but they'll see how people react to it before they do it. What's your thoughts on it, Hatton?
I think it brings about another meta to the. Oh, I just cut across. I've just seen my market is refreshed and some cards have become live on the store. So the push, they are number 1 out of 1,000 as well. So they are releasing the first serial number cards first as well, which I thought for Europe they held them back, but yeah, so that's interesting. In terms of splitting it out, I think it's a new meta to the game as to whether you go for the streaks or go for the leaderboard. I think it will. I mean, now you can have 5 teams, can't you? What is it, 4 in streaks and 1 in the leaderboard in limited? So again, probably more revenue for So Rare with people buying more cards. But yeah, I think it was Smoggy Pedro in the Ramble chat that said, is there a game to going in the leaderboard early instead of going into the streaks, because some people might only go for the boosted streaks and not put their teams into the leaderboard. So it's definitely brings about another meta. I know people like McBride will be happy that there's not divisions at limited and rare, and it's just one big leaderboard. So maybe that sees some of the smaller teams that don't hit every week getting bought, because all you need is one drubbing of another team to get a good reward, rather than sitting in Division 3 because they've been rubbish for the season and then you win a fiver kind of thing, even though they've won 5-0. So yeah, I think it brings about another aspect to the game that we need to think of and act on.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If we look at the streaks, they are that's the rare ones. Where are the boosted ones? Oh, that's the boosted one. Sorry, I'm being a spanner. Sorry, yeah, the boosted streaks. So they're 4x. So what I quite like is, I know that's rare. Where are the limit? Are they 3x or 4x?
I think they were the same as rare. I might be off my rocker a bit there, but I'm sure.
I can't quite see on this. No, the text is too small to say what it is. Anyway, like they are boosted, aren't they, for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on like winning Essence early on? For me, I actually don't mind, as long as it comes through as MLS Essence to start off with, because like winning $3, some people might like that, but these days you can't buy a decent in-season card at the start of the season for $3. So maybe having Essence actually is probably better at the start of the season. And I never really get excited about streaks until you sort of get to the third one anyway, and it tends to jump up a little bit, and then obviously from there, it improves.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. I think definitely early on in the European seasons, I was choosing the Essence rewards instead of the $3 or $5, whatever it was, because the chance of crafting a smasher that you would never be able to pull. Like I chose La Liga Streak 1. I chose the Essence. Ripped it and got a Vinny Jr. out of it. Now, I would never have bought Vinny Jr. in season cards because of his price point. So I think the fact that you could, instead of hitting $3, $5 in MLS, you could craft a Messi or a Song, I think is more. I think when I first saw it, I was disappointed, but then when I thought about it a bit more, I thought, yeah, you're right. $3 goes into my account and then just gets swallowed up by buying a classic rubbish card that's had a good week, or a backup goalkeeper or something like that. So you never ever buy anything good with it anyway. You might as well have the chance of crafting a star.
Yeah. Right, let's talk some picks. I know you're a Minnesota fan, but you can't choose all Minnesota players. Out of interest, how do you think they're going to get on this season?
I was pessimistic. Everyone was going. Like Sinclair's gone to Miami. Lod's gone to Chicago. The manager's gone to West Brom. Although looking at West Brom's results recently, I'm not sure if he's going to do a Wilfred Nancy and get set back quite quickly. So I was a bit pessimistic, but some of the signings we've made and some of the rumours I've heard in terms of the tactics we're going to play, I'm a little bit optimistic, but we're never going to be one of the teams that goes and wins the cup or the Supporters' Shield. So I'll be happy again with getting to the playoffs. Maybe sneak a couple of wins in the playoffs. Excited to see how James Rodriguez gets on. Although I think it might be, I don't think he'll be straight in the team straight away. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'll be excited to see how he plays in our formation.
I feel like he's just come into the team just to, get some matches under his legs for the World Cup, and that's about it. And I mean, he's signed a 6-month contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's beneficial to both parties. I think for Minnesota, we're not a glamorous team. We're not the LAs or Miamis, and so this gets us some revenue, some tickets sold, some shirts sold. It's our 10-year of being a club or being an MLS club year. So get some special jerseys printed off with James wearing number 10 as well. So I think it's beneficial in terms of revenue for us. How beneficial it's going to be on the pitch. Well, it's weird because our best player is Joaquim Pereira, who is a number 10, plays exactly the same positions as James Rodriguez. So, and do you potentially upset the apple cart for someone who's going to be there for 6 months? I mean, it's a 6-month contract with a 6-month option for the rest of the season. But do I see that 6-month option getting hit unless we're somehow first or second in the league and he's banging the goals in? I don't see the second month being ticked over. But yeah, I think it will be a good few weeks until we see him in the team. The work permit rules in MLS are always quite strict. It's quite close to the season that he's signed. So yeah, I think it will take a bit of time.
I was just having a look, and Evander currently is one of the highest cards price-wise. It's currently at 52 quid. There was talk about him leaving MLS and going back to Brazil. Any chance of that happening still?
So a lot of the Brazilian teams recently, anyway, have been linked with a lot of MLS clubs. You've got Buanga that was linked recently, and apparently a bid was put in. You had the same last year with like Evander was linked last year. You had Lucho Acosta that was linked last summer. He ended up was linked at the start of the season, ended up going in the summer to South America. I don't think Evander leaves, if I'm honest. I think he knows what his market worth is at the moment to Cincinnati. They will just want to keep him. So I think he could get paid more in MLS than he could in South America. So I think he'll stay in the MLS unless a European move comes on. I think players like him stay in MLS for another couple of years until they're, say, early to mid 30s, and then they look to move on, maybe back home to South America.
Yeah, and it feels like with the World Cup in America this year, that it would be quite a fun place to stay anyway. It'd be a good year for sort of like the MLS. I know obviously, it doesn't really have an impact on the World Cup, but the fact the World Cup's going to be there just feels like it changes things.
I think you definitely get more eyes on it. I think people will start to watch this first few months because they get to see what it's like in America. And so, yeah, I think people may be looking at it, I get some more eyes on me. I have a good few months. Even some national teams are now, I'm not saying Evander's going to get in the Brazilian national team, but some of those players that are maybe on the cusp of their national teams or on the bench for their national teams might see playing in America as an advantage to get in their national team, because if their manager goes, he's used to the country, he's used to the climate, stuff like that, might see them getting a bigger chance, which then, as we all know, play well in a World Cup, you get a European move. So I think a lot of people will be thinking on that.
I'm just
Going
having a quick flick through as well some of the cards, just seeing if there's any sort of positional changes that I can notice off the top of my head. Almarin is still a forward. Saba, I'm not even going to. Lobojans is the Georgian guy that plays for them, who is quite good when he plays. I don't know whether his scores, they don't really show that, but he does have some decent sort of scores in the locker. He's a forward card now. He was midfielder last season. Makes him a little more interesting to me. But let's get on to some of the star picks in the league. Who do you think are going to be the star players this year, Sorare wise?
I will go on that. I just searched it. I was waiting for it to the biggest positional change, and I think his card will go mad. And I'll talk about him a bit later. Manu Dua for San Diego. Last year he was a midfield card, and he's just been given a defender card. And I think someone ran the numbers last year that he would have a lot better SO5 numbers if he was a defender.
Has he definitely got a defender card? Because they're not out yet, those cards.
I've just searched him. His defender card's currently sitting at £13.21. And his rare hasn't. So his limited has got 5 bids, and his rare card hasn't even had a bid on it yet.
That's weird, isn't it? Which guy?
Dua, Duah.
Oh yeah. That's quite good, isn't it? 13 quid, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's one that people have been looking out for. People have been hoping that he was going to get a positional change card. So yeah, I'd expect those ones to be higher than, in essence, what they should be.
Sitting next to him on the market has got Lozano.
People will be looking at him and looking at the fact he's got an L15 of, I think it's still in late 50s, early 60s, even though he hasn't played for the last few games. And I think people might have missed the news that he's not going to play.
Well, that's not been confirmed in the MLS yet, has it? But he's definitely not registered for the Champions. What's it called? The
CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever say he's not in the squad, because you never know if people get injured.
They are trying to force him out, aren't they?
Yeah, I can't remember what they call it. Different clubs have different names for their top guys, but the front office guy for San Diego basically said, we're working on a resolution for him to leave, so I don't expect him to play any games whatsoever.
No, I don't know where he'll end up. Maybe back in Mexico, I don't know. But he'll certainly want to be somewhere, because, he potentially be part of the World Cup team, won't he? So
yeah, I think he's too expensive wages-wise for any MLS club to pick him up.
Do you think another team in the MLS is likely to pick him up then?
No, I think it's the Insigne situation, where they've pumped a lot of money into him. It hasn't worked. He wants to stay in the MLS, and no other MLS club are willing to give up. Like, I think Insigne, when he was at Toronto, was on something stupid like $6 million a year. That's why the rest of the team was rubbish, because they couldn't afford anyone else. So yeah, I think the same with Lozano. I don't think anyone's gonna pick him up in the MLS. I think, like you say, a move back home to Mexico is probably the most likely, or maybe a move to the Middle East if one of those clubs want to pick him up as a star player.
And I noticed as well on the San Diego page as well that Lewis Morgan has always had the Scottish flag, and like I've never seen the Union Jack on there before. I'm pretty sure it's always the George Cross, isn't it? It's on there, but they've got the Union Jack next to his name in England. A little bit weird. I'm pretty sure he is Scottish as well, isn't he?
Morgan's Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why they've got the English tag. I'm sure that won't make some of the people particularly happy, especially the Scots that the stream.
Could make those early cards worth a bit more, though, if they're special cards for holding. I know there's been some players that have changed their nationality mid-season, that their older cards have been seen more rare from a collecting point of view kind of thing. So I wonder if that happens, whether they'll say the same.
Yeah, 100%. So let's start talking about the stars anyway then. So SO5 wise, any goalkeepers first before we get on sort of like the outfielders that you think will be the main guys? I mean, historically, I obviously followed it last season, probably not as intensely as I have done in the past. It's been people like Joe Willis, like Celentano, potentially good. Andre Blake, like defensive stack with him. Obviously in the past with Wagner, who's now in the UK at Birmingham and still seems to be doing pretty well there. But like those are the ones that sort of jump to me right now. Is there anybody like who are the main guys you're looking at?
So there's been a lot of swaps with goalkeepers this year. In terms of they're moving about, a lot of them being out of contract at December just gone. MLS for goalkeepers is really hard because no one keeps a clean sheet. And if you are a team that keeps a clean sheet like Miami, then you don't really tend to get a lot of shots against you. So you'll hit the standard 60. The ones that I'd expect to be up there for the top goal scorers, you've got your standard in Lloris at Los Angeles. I think he'll do well. Kalina at Charlotte. He's always up there in terms of numbers, even though Charlotte aren't ever up there with the numbers kind of thing. My one that I think will be the most expensive goalkeeper is Dane Sinclair. Unfortunately, left Minnesota last year, but he's gone to Inter Miami.
He wanted to win something, didn't he? He said.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got on less money as well. And the way the MLS works is that if they're out of if the club has offered a contract, any other club can't offer the same amount. I think it's like 80% they can offer as a maximum. So he's gone for less money than what we offered. But
they can re-offer him a new contract, can't they, at the end of the season?
Yeah. So they'll re-look into it. I mean, there's probably clauses and stuff like that once you play a certain amount of games or something like that it all bumped up. But I think part of it is playing with Messi, isn't it? And also they are the best team in the league. It's the Galacticos of the MLS, really. So I don't blame him. He's got Canada in the World Cup in 6 months' time, where he's always battling with Krapau for that number 1 shirt. So
speaking of him, he's moved to Orlando.
Yeah. I think that's a good move for him. So again, that might be a close battle if you're looking for international keepers for the World Cup. I'd probably pick both of them up because one of them will be the number 1. It's just about which one. Other goalkeepers, a lot of the other stalwarts.
Matt Turner.
So Matt Turner, yeah, again, he's the only, until 5 minutes ago, he was the only goalkeeper with in-season cards with his Nottingham Forest cards from last year. So I think he'll do well. New England is one of the teams that I think could surprise some people this year.
They've been pretty bad for the last couple of years, but going back 3 or 4 years, actually, they were a pretty decent team.
Probably the last time Turner played in America, they were a good team.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But I think they just made a couple of saves. Some of the other goalkeepers that would have been picks that you would have played last year will probably lose their place, I think. People like Joe Willis and Stephen Fry, both of them were out of contract in December. Both of them look to have left and then were given a new contract. Normally when that happens, it means they've been offered a lesser amount or a lesser squad status. So I think possible under the radar goalkeepers of Andrew Thomas at Seattle that might take over from Fry, or and apologies, I'll probably butcher this pronunciation, Swarke or Swark. He's an under 23 goalkeeper. He's played most of the preseason friendlies for Nashville, so he looks to be taking over from Joe Willis this season. And I know I've set myself up for first weekend of Willis and Fry both to play and get hundreds.
I mean, it's not out of the question, is it? Willis obviously has been sort of a bit of a stalwart there. You know, he definitely could keep the number 1 spot. Andrew Thomas obviously did pretty well when he came in when Fry was injured last season, but then Fry got the position back at 39. I'd be surprised if Fry wanted to play anywhere else now. I imagine he just wants to see out his contract, see out his career there. But
I think they've brought him in because he was club captain last year. I think they've re-signed him just to be around the spot, just to be around the club. He's also, if they do move on from him and use Thomas, they've also in the CONCACAF, the Leagues Cup, and obviously MLS that they'll be hoping to go quite far in. So I think he'll still get games. He'll probably be the same as what Thomas was last year. He'll be the cup goalkeeper. But yeah, I just got this feeling that I think Thomas will, based on last year with Fry being injured quite a bit, Thomas having good games when he did play, that I just think this year might be the time where. But people said the same last year in the off season last year. People were saying Fry's done. This is his last year. He's going to wind down. So yeah, quite easily he could be the number one still.
And like looking at Brad Guzon, ever since I played Sorare, he's been like a bit of a stalwart. Obviously, he was old when I started. I think he was like ancient. He's no longer at Atalanta. Atalanta, big things were expected last season. They didn't really materialise, although I think Almiron had a few decent games. He wasn't really like consistent across the season. Their big signing from Middlesbrough, sort of mid-season, is it Latte La or something like that?
Yeah.
He sort of didn't really, and he's a bit of a bit goal dependent, I guess, striker. He doesn't really get too much involved in the build-up. But they've signed another ancient goalkeeper. Hoyes has come from Argentina. I already have his card, obviously a classic card. I'm assuming he's coming to be number one.
I'm secretly hoping not, just because last year, when Guzan announced that he was going, I picked up a few Hibbert cards because he was an under-23 goalkeeper and he played for the rest of the year for Atlanta. He played quite well, so I'm secretly hoping that he's come in just to be that backup. But I think that is one of the teams where it's up in the air. I haven't kept too close an eye on Atlanta and what they've done in pre-season to really see who's starting.
Yeah, I mean the price at the moment is indicating that Hoyes is likely to be the starter.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
£17 at the moment, and no bids on Hibbert. So Hibbert for £1, if you can get him for a low price, then maybe it's a decent shout because Hoyes has not got a great injury record either.
No, backup MLS, maybe not this year's season, but all the international breaks, normally the MLS carries on. So if you've got an international goalkeeper, always buy the backup. Because last year I had, obviously, Dane Sinclair, but I had Schmier for Minnesota that played about 6 or 7 games, and I got him cheap at the start of the season because obviously everyone knows that Sinclair was the nailed number one. But as soon as international breaks come up, I had a still in season goalkeeper that I brought really cheap, kind of thing.
And who's the number one for Minnesota this year? Calendar or Smear?
It'll be Calendar. Calendar brought in from Charlotte, who I think they played a blinder. To be fair, they traded him from Miami when he was third choice because he fell out with the Messis and all that. They brought him in for dirt cheap, and I think they made 4 or 5 times their money trading him to Minnesota for 2-3 months, just sitting on their squad. So so they played a blinder, but I think he'll be definitely number one. We've also promoted an under 21 goalkeeper from the reserves into our main squad. So we've got 3 goalkeepers. So I need to pick up that new one. I can't pronounce it, Rizanovic or something like that we've he's 19, 20 years old, so I need to pick him up just in case he's the number 2. But I expect it to be Calendar Schmier, this young guy.
Nice. Right, let's move on to defend. Unless there's any other goalkeepers you think that could be. I mean, as you said right at the start, goalkeepers in the MLS are a bit of a nightmare anyway. And you just want to make sure you get locked number ones, really. to make sure they're starting. And as you said, if you've got an international keeper, then make sure you've got the backup, because as you said, they will play through international breaks, and always having the backup keeper is useful anyway. Defenders last season, best two defenders in the game were what's his name, Wagner and Alba. Wagner's gone to the UK, and one of the other has retired. So who's going to be the best defender in the MLS this season?
So I think there's actually going to be more options this year than what there was before. Maybe because Wagner and Alba were so far above all the rest. I think the scores may go down a bit, but I think there'll be more choice. You've got Palacios at Nashville. I think he's going to be a really high scorer. Got the normal ones for Seattle, Reagan and Yamar. They always put up quite high numbers, and they're also threats at set pieces with the delivery of Rusnak. So they always tend to pick up a DA even if there's no clean sheet kind of thing. Galaxy have made a couple of good moves. They've got Glesnes in from Philadelphia. I think he's going to pick up some good scores. Columbus, I'm hoping, with their kind of new way of the new manager coming in. Obviously, Nancy went to Celtic. I think Columbus defenders are going to be ones to maybe search out for this year. You've got
I had a few of them last year, and they were an absolute nightmare.
Columbus
was in and out of the team, and Armanson as well. And they're both normally good scorers. They were sort of in and out of the team, and then eventually Armanson was back in the team sort of later in the season. And Herrera smashed sort of, as a sort of wing back, I think, in that formation. Anyway, do we know how they're going to play this year, though, under the new manager?
It looks to be evolution instead of revolution. So I think it will be kind of a bit further forward, but still free at the back, in my opinion. Although I think with no Nagby obviously retired, their centre midfielder, who was the kind of pivot quarterback, I think the defenders are going to be needing to do more, say, forward passes, more running into spots, which someone like Almondson really enjoys. So yeah, I think maybe which could leave them a bit more open, maybe. Because Nagby was always that one that didn't care about going forward. So if a centre back bombed past him, he just sat in. So yeah, I think Columbus will be better than last year, but again, it's always that unknown when a new manager comes in, new ideas. So yeah, it'd be one to keep an eye on, I reckon.
If you're looking at sort of Philadelphia and last season, obviously the Blake Wagner stack, although Wagner could play, on an island in any team. Is there a defender to stack this year? I'm guessing it's Harrell.
Harrell, if you're looking for kind of attacking what you're missing in Wagner. But the one that I'd recommend would be Makhanya. He was Glesnes's partner last year. I actually recommended him this time last year when maybe it was a bit unknown of how he was going to do. But he always seems quite solid at the back. Picked up a few goals from set pieces. So yeah, I think if you're looking for a Philly defensive partnership to put with Blake, I would go with McCanya. But yeah, Harriel's probably going to be the cheaper option and probably not that much of a drop off in scores.
Well, early prices have them both pretty much the same. Both McCanya is a little bit over 15 quid and Harrell's not far behind at the moment. So they're the two that people have got their eyes on.
Yeah,
by the looks of it. Cincinnati, a good team last season. I always seem to buy Matt Miazga, and he always seems to either get injured and let me down. Last season, nothing really happened for him. I'm assuming he's back this year.
Yes, I believe I read something about that. I think if you're going for Cincinnati, My recommendation would be Miles Robinson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just double checked, and Miazga is predicted to be back. And him and Robinson are the two safe starters because they kind of function between 3 at the back and 4 at the back. So if they go 4 at the back, they're the 2 centre backs. If they go 3 at the back, obviously they still stay in. So if you're looking for the safe starters, it'll be Miazga, Robinson. However, both of them have sketchy injury records.
Yeah, I remember last season Robinson missed a boatload of games with a concussion.
Yeah, about a week after I crafted him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the best team in the league, Miami, they have brought in another Spanish player. They've got Sergio Reguilon. I can't remember. I don't know where he's come from last, but
I don't think he's played for anyone since Spurs.
Oh, really? I know he's been out on loan in certain places, but they've brought him in. It looks like, I had a quick look last night, that he got injured in the first training game.
Yeah.
And hasn't played since. So I don't know whether, but like, if he's fully fit, big if, because he as well has got a bit of a patchy record with injuries, you would expect him to be one of the highest output sort of defenders in the game, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah. It was 8 minutes into his debut in a friendly, a bit of a nasty challenge, but he a grade 2 knee sprain. But Miami are super secretive with when people were injured, as we know. With like, there was a point last year where it was Messi was training, wasn't training, and no one knew if he was going to play. So Miami are super secretive, but a lot of people who know more about injuries than I do said that at worst it's about a 6 to 7 week layoff. So since that we've had a couple of weeks, so another couple of weeks until the thing. So it'll probably be there or thereabouts back in training when the season starts.
Yeah.
But when he's fit, he's the nailed starter. And yeah, I don't think he'll quite hit Alba numbers, but I think he'll be a decent enough scorer.
Yeah, and he's certainly going to be expensive out the gate, even with the injury.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of other teams that they've put them up in a bit of a weird order on there. They haven't put them in. Oh no, they are up in alphabetical order. No, they're not. They're not coming. Anyway, sorry, ignore me. But any other defenders that sort of jump out at you?
Yeah, I think if you're kind of crossing between different competitions, you've got San Diego left back Luca Bombino. He's a really good scorer last year, under 23 still. So if you're looking for his classic or his in season, San Diego. So he's nailed at left back for San Diego, and if they do as well as what they did last year, then he'll definitely have another good season.
Yeah, he's the most expensive defender I've seen so far. 25 quid he's up at the moment. Dua is 14 quid. But obviously 5 hours to go to that. I mean, these are sort of quite high prices early with 5 hours to go. It'd be interesting to see where some of these end up. I certainly won't be going after one-offs unless I see sort of like somebody who's a bit of a speculative one and he's going cheap. But yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping to have a look at see whether the one-offs of Minnesota are any decent prices, but I just had a look, and even them I think it'd be a bit out of I've just seen as well Messi's £235
already
so far.
All of the limited Minnesota ones, there's one bid on one of them.
Oh, maybe I will be able to get in at these prices then. Hopefully people listen to me when I say we're rubbish and stay away.
Any other defenders then?
I think it's that. I mean, you've got some other ones in Najar at Nashville, Palencia at Los Angeles. I think if you're looking for the Miami stack with Reguilon injured, you've got Falcon from last year. He's probably the only one nailed at the moment. Mura and Marson, I think, was their other signing in pre-season. Again, we don't know if they're definitely going to be nailed, but they're new signings. Mura, I really like. I've got him from his Racing days in Argentina, so I think he will be really good. But again, it's whether he takes over, because Ian Frey last year was really good for Miami. So it depends on how quickly they make that swap over.
And they've let go of Hector Martinez, David Martinez, depending on what year you bought your card. So, like defensive centre-back, defensive options are a little bit lighter this season for them. So hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier picking out the ones that are going to start most weeks.
Yeah, Avilés has gone, and I think might be making this up, but I feel like Noah Allen has left as well. I feel like he went to Europe.
Still got a card, or they're minting a card at the moment. And weirdly, he's got a Greece flag.
Really?
I think they might have mucked up a few of these flags, unless he's got some sort of auntie in Greece that he's
just Googling him now because I'm sure he'd left. But yeah, no, he looks like he's changed his. He was born in Florida, but he's changed his representation to Greece. He's got a Greek mother, and yeah, he changed over. He's now played 6 times for their under-21. So I'm guessing maybe this is poor, but if Greece are in World Cup, maybe he's looking for a World Cup position.
Yeah, you do see that a lot often, don't you? When World Cup year.
Yeah.
Who is it? Harvey Barnes is Scottish, isn't he?
Yeah, but it was quite funny because he was doing really well, and then that came out that he might be looking towards Scotland, and then he's been rubbish ever since. So
Scotland don't want him now.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's going down the pecking order, looking for any team that will take him.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on to midfielders. These are the sort of skill positions and generally the positions that you captain on Sorare. Let's go through them sort of team by team as they've got them sort of in the system, make it a bit easier for me sort of rather than jumping around. Philadelphia, anybody that jumps out to you there?
So
Quinn Sullivan sometimes if he sort of plays. But Bedoya's still there, bloody hell.
Yeah, Bedoya's still club captain. So again, he doesn't tend to play very often. Philadelphia, since losing like Gazdag and stuff like that, their midfield options have been weak in terms of SF5 scores. Still good players. They're probably out and out ones will be Lukic and Danley is probably the 2 holders, but they're both holding midfielders. So again,
unlikely to win your tournaments.
No, and Danley loves a red card every now and again. So bear that in mind if you sign him. The Philadelphia ones, you're looking at either defenders or forwards. A lot of their kind of big scores will be coming from your Ilofsky or Diamani kind of players.
Right, midfielders for Cincinnati. Probably the only place you can start is Evander.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. if I'm going there, I mean, if you're gonna go out, you go for Evander. The next level underneath, depending on whether he keeps his place, you've got Noah Budu. He was always a good scorer when he played, but again, it's whether he is fit and plays well, as he was injured for a lot of last season. Next to him, you've got Pavel Buka. Again, one of those midfielders that is nailed, but won't light up, won't, as you say, win you tournaments.
I think from what I remember, I mean, he was good, but he was better when Evander was out of the team because sometimes he was sort of like taking some of the set pieces.
Yeah, exactly that. I think there's a lot of players that maybe ones to target in weeks that say international breaks or something like that they might not play. The number 10s might not play, so therefore a holding midfielder might take some set pieces.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing else that jumps out of there.
The big one, Los Angeles LAFC. That's where I'd be looking for midfield options.
Well, let's go through team by team. So might be in a thing. So into Miami, they've brought in my beautiful David Ayala from Portland. I guess he's brought in to be a starter, although I think he got a red card about 10 minutes in a friendly, like 10 minutes into his debut, or certainly like one of his early matches. I'm guessing he plays a lot, but they have got other decent options. Rodrigo de Paul would be the locked starter, and he's actually been sharing sets with Messi as well in pre-season. I've noticed, not free kicks obviously, but corners anyway.
Yeah, I think if you're Miami play that 4-2-3-1 and that two, because Messi's in the 10, the two holders is the Paul and then one of Yannick Bright or David Ayala. So it's pick and choose between them two. Looking at preseason, Ayala seems to be the one that maybe's got the nod. But with how many games Miami have to play this season with the CONCACAF, probably be some sort of rotation. And especially you probably got players that have got the World Cup coming up that will be looking for rotation out of the team. So your DePauls, your Messis and stuff like that may not play as many games as what we're hoping.
And it's going to be a ball like, isn't it? Because as you look, a lot of the teams are in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think some Miami come in next round. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So in the first round, you got Cincy, Vancouver, Philly, LAFC, and Seattle. And then
always a ball ache because
San Diego are in it, but they've already started. So they played last midweek, and they actually play this midweek as well. So you can already use your San Diego card. So you're looking for that XP. But they are the teams that are probably going to rotate early. Whether they rotate in CCC or rotate in MLS is tough to find out.
And the deadline for MLS is moving back, and I believe we have to thank you for that.
Well, I'd like to think. I'm not sure, but I'd like to think. I mentioned it a few times on social media that MLS never have Friday night games, and the injury reports come out about 11 o'clock at night on Friday, but we're expected to pick a starting team for games that take place 36 hours later. And I know you get that in Premier League when there's Monday night games and things like that. But I think there's just so much information for MLS that comes out on a Friday night, Saturday morning, that moving it 24 hours is one of the best things I think Sorare could do with the whisper it quietly with there not being a DMP solution just yet. I think this is as good as we could have got without there being a solution for MLS moving it to Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like next team then, Charlotte. There's nobody really that jumps out at them. Diani maybe has got some decent scores.
Got BL or Beal.
Yeah,
BL. He sends to take a lot. Again, like with most teams, they're nailed players are ones that don't score well. Your Ashley Westwood. They've signed De La Torre, who played for San Diego last year. But again, didn't light up the world in terms of scores. Is that kind of holding midfielder, pass the ball around a lot, but doesn't really get on the score sheet or set anyone up.
Oh yeah, Pep Biel, yeah.
He's there like number 10, feeding the ball to your Vargas, your Zaha, your Toklamani.
Yeah, I don't think like moving on to New York City. Andres Pereira.
Maxi Morales, MLS GOAT. Is if you're looking at
he should be cheap as well, shouldn't he, compared to some of the other ones because of his age?
Yeah, he had like almost a second coming at the end, towards the end of last season, picking up a lot of kind of DAs and quite high AA games. So yeah, I think if you're looking for that New York City stat, Morales would be the one that I would go for. Although you're right, he's getting on a bit, so does injury take over? But he seemed to stay injury free last year.
A lot of players don't look their age in their sort of photo. He definitely looks his age, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he looked 40 at about 20.
trying to get. I'm not about to get it up, am I? But Nashville. They have signed Espinoza from San Jose. They've still got Hani Mukhtar. Any indications who's going to be on sets?
I don't see Mukhtar giving up sets.
No.
I think there's been players that have been and gone that have been decent set piece takers, and he's still not giving them up. Tagsev come in last season, had a couple when Mukhtar wasn't playing or when he'd been subbed off. But again, once Mukhtar on the pitch, it's a monopoly for him. In my opinion, I feel the same for Espinoza. I think if you're looking at maybe a set piece with Espinoza, maybe he takes a short one with Mukhtar, but I think 90+% of them will still be getting taken by Hani.
And they haven't got Espinoza's card up there yet, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I wonder whether there'll be. It's interesting though, because I was going to say I wonder whether there's be some of the late signings that would do it, but then they've managed to get James Rodriguez a card 2 days after he signed for Minnesota. So
yeah, it's a bit weird. Maybe he'll come in sort of later on in the auctions today or tomorrow or something. But yeah, Hani Mukhtar and Espinoza are the two main ones, aren't they? Really for Nashville.
Yeah. The other side you've got Muyl, Muyl, but he's not as nailed as the other two. So yeah, if you're looking for a split, it would be that for me.
Columbus Crew. They have got 12 midfielders coming up. Gazdag. I'm trying to look through. Shambost was decent last season. Shawodsky. And Diego Rossi's a midfielder card.
Oh,
that's a bit of a downgrade.
Yeah, but then you now think of getting a team of Rossi, Messi, and trying to think of the top of my head, Song.
Yeah,
you could get an in-season team of them. I think that opens up options, or Buanga, Messi, and Rossi. I think there's so many brilliant forward cards that if one of them was turned into a midfielder, I'm not sure it takes that much away from him. Obviously, he loses points for every goal Columbus concede now, whereas he didn't before. But I think a lot of his build-up play will now be rewarded. So maybe I wonder whether that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look at that. I mean, my immediate thought is it will be a downgrade. But yeah, you're right. I don't know. He doesn't really get involved too much with tackles and stuff like that. But yeah, I have to have a look at that. But
is Arson down as a midfielder? Max Arson?
No.
Is he still a forward card? Or maybe they've moved him all the way to defender.
Yeah, they do like doing that, don't they? Throw curveballs into the ring. But like, I guess Rossi then would be one of the best forward midfielder cards for Columbus. Behind him, sort of Shambost and Gazdag.
Yeah, Gazdag is. There was a lot of fanfare when he joined. It was supposed to be the replacement for Cucho when he signed halfway through the season, but nothing came about.
He was just a lot of his scores came from penalties, didn't they?
Yeah, and he had the monopoly of that at Philadelphia, whereas Rossi doesn't give them up at Columbus. I think in the end he gave a couple of Gazdag maybe to get his what's it called? His morale up, but it didn't stick. I think Gazdag might be one of them ones that we expect to start that might not start. But yeah, if you're looking at Columbus, you've got Rossi, Shambost, and then Zawodzki. But again, Zawodzki doesn't really get DAs at all.
We've got Hoodwink in the chat saying Espinoza forward card, apparently. That would be interesting. But we'll come on to them in a minute. Chicago. I don't know why I'm laughing. I can't stop myself laughing. But anybody that jumps out, are you expecting anything more from them this season? Like Franco, I'm I think I bought his card when he went there, and he had some decent games because he's like their set piece taker. So you can see there that he can deliver some sort of, he had some okay AA to go with that, sort of getting 85 with that, so 25 AA there. So he potentially would be one I'd look at, and if I was looking for a budget sort of 8, like to put in a team, he might be one that jumps out at me. Robin Lodd, obviously there. I can't think of anyone else.
Again, off the top of my head, not sure whether it's forward or midfield. You got Zinkernagel, the winger. He had some good scores last year.
Yeah, he's a forward, I think.
Probably the same with Bamba. Then I think with Chicago, it's the up in the air of who is going to be in their midfield. Obviously, they signed Lod, but it's whether he kind of goes straight in. He's a bit of an older player now. He wasn't playing every game for Minnesota last year, but you'd expect that they've signed him for a reason, and you expect he's probably left Minnesota for more game time. So that'll be interesting to see. But there's not a lot of Chicago. It'd be forward lines that I would say for Chicago, really, not midfields.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jumping on to Orlando, I've noticed Ojeda is now back at midfield. He was midfield 2 seasons ago. He was a forward card last season and absolutely smashed for me last year. And back at midfield now, where his scores are a little bit lower, but he still should be a pretty decent card to have.
Yeah, Ojeda. They've also signed another Ojeda.
Yeah,
from Salt Lake. I really liked him at Salt Lake. Don't think it helped that he played for Salt Lake, but going to what I deem a better team in Orlando should help his scores. He'll want
pretty decent scores anyway.
Yeah, he'll want some set pieces, but he's very much that link from defense to forward line, so he'll get a lot of forward passes, a lot of attempted assists, things like that. So yeah, I'm expecting again on this midfielder or forward card, you got Pasalic that they signed last summer.
He's a forward card, I think. I looked yesterday. Yeah,
I'm just going to assume everyone that I think could be either is going to be forward now, because I think that's 4 in a row off.
Yeah, he was a midfielder card last season, I'm pretty sure.
I think he had both. I think his cards from the in-season one when they signed him was midfielder, and then forward when he got Chicago cards. I think someone's probably going to correct me in the chat, but yeah, I think he had both.
Atuesta, sort of solid AA, but lacks the decisives.
Yeah, again,
ways of getting them, but I'm pretty sure in these games, this was when Ojeda was out and he was taking some of the sets.
Yeah, it took him a while to get into the side after his move from LA. But yeah, again, another one of those. I expect him to probably share a lot of the kind of midfield passes with B. Ojeda rather than Martin.
Yeah, so they've got pretty decent midfield there, and they've got Pasalic is pretty good up top as well. So
yeah, it's the other positions. It's straight up front and kind of the left side of the team as to the iffy who's going to start. So they've got, I know we're not on forwards yet, but they've signed a new forward, but they've still got Duncan Maguire. So it's who gets that one position up top kind of thing.
What about the Red Bulls?
Red Bulls have quietly gone about their work in the off season, bringing in some players. They've, in terms of midfields, Forsberg is Forsberg really. Not sure.
Not on there, so I'm assuming he might be a forward card.
I'm sure he was midfield last season.
Every decent player is a forward card, so people can't play more than 3 of them.
Yeah. They made a really good signing, in my opinion, in Cade Cowell. He's going to play left wing. I don't know again whether he's midfield or forward.
Forward as well.
I'm going to get absolutely rinsed in the chat, I reckon, for all of this. But again, Red Bulls is one of them teams that, unless I'm going for their forward line, if Forsberg and Cade Cowell are forwards, then I'm staying away from their midfields cards kind of thing.
Yeah, there's nothing that jumps out, or nothing. You know, I don't know about this Argentine lad. It's like they've got got nothing in the history. I don't know whether he was there last season. He wasn't getting any game time, so you would assume that he probably would be bench fodder again this season.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving on to the Red Bulls. The one guy I'm assuming is a midfielder, unless they're really throwing a curveball. Let's have a look. Can't see him. Oh, there he is, Carlos Gil.
Yeah, I'm glad he's still a midfield. I think, as I said earlier, I think New England, if I'm looking to make a stack that I think are one of the maybe under the radar ones, I think it'd be New England. I think they're just made a couple of good signings, and the places, the people they've moved on from, they've definitely improved. So like Griffin Young will probably now play the left wing position, giving Hill that opportunity to move back into kind of like the 10, and it's not just going to be on Hill for but again, I'm expecting Yo to be a forward player. A really, really under the radar signing, or at least in my opinion, that New England have made is from Houston, a player called Brooklyn Reigns.
Yeah.
Youngster. But I think he's going to play a lot more than what people expected him will. I think he's like a box-to-box midfielder, so getting that AA up, and especially when you got people like Hill. I mean, there's probably so many easy assists where you just pass the ball 5 yards to Hill and let him do his thing. So that's probably one of my kind of under the radar, hopefully he's cheap sort of players that I expect to be nailed. I was really surprised that Houston moved him on, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It's funny that Carlos Gil is 105 quid at the moment, to be expected, really. His early ones are going to be, and if you get a rev stat, you have to have Gil, really. Otherwise there's no point doing it. Brooklyn Reigns is the second highest one at the moment at 10 quid.
Yeah, so I mean that's higher than I expected. I think people have maybe seen the preseason games and seen that he's going to be kind of there or thereabouts in the team every game. But again, I'll probably, if I'm a betting man, think that he'll probably end up, especially for his early cards, maybe about the 15 to 20 mark.
Yeah. I think you sort of have to discount these one-offs as well, because if people are looking for collections, they'll try and get all of them. So the prices do get inflated a little bit. Obviously, sometimes you still get people completely under the radar. But
yeah,
moving on to Toronto, Mihailovic moved there last season in what was a pretty weird move in my mind, but moving from a team to another team that's sort of like mid-table. I thought he might sort of try and go to a bigger team. I would expect that he's going to be on all set pieces when he's in the team. I just don't know how well Toronto are going to do. His price is currently 40 quid. I'd probably be staying away from him at least early doors if I could pick up other ones. But
I think he fits that player where they're going to get good scores. They're going to do everything for their team. If their team gets a DA, it's probably either going to be him assist or him goal. And so he's a good one to have in your stack teams, because when they have a good fixture to line him up. But he's not a Messi or a Song or a Bianga that's going to hit 80 pretty much 90% of the games. He'll get 100 every now and again, or a high 90 game every now and again, but there's going to be a few games where he just hits you late 40s, early 50s kind of thing if he doesn't get that DA.
I just don't think Toronto are going to be good enough to sort of they're not going to score enough goals. But you're right, he will deliver numbers anyway. But it's difficult sort of banking on him. But I guess it can, it becomes down to price, doesn't it? So if he's half the price of some guy that's going to get similar scores, then maybe it's worth going down that route.
Yeah.
Montreal.
Move on.
Yeah, nobody I can think of there.
Yeah, I mean Montreal's very much like Toronto in that not great. I mean, if you've got a midfield where Matthew Longstaff is one of your starters, you probably know you're not that good a team. Sorry to all the Montreal fans out there.
And they start there away from home, don't they, for the first 7 games or something?
Yeah, but then they have I think it's first 4 games away from home, and then they have 7 or 8 at home in a row. So I wonder whether they're a team to maybe after the boosted ones to maybe hit, because their prices might be really low if they've had 4 really bad weeks. But yeah, I myself would be kind of staying away from them.
Yeah, Atlanta, like team that big things were expected last season. I'll be honest, I haven't looked into it quite as much this season, but we've got Laird streaming later with Gator Guy and Deke and Harry. They were quite up on Atlanta last season. It'll be interesting to get their thoughts later on what they're feeling for this season. Moranchuk, still a midfielder. Big things were expected of him last season. I don't think he really delivered. He got some nice scores, but he also wasn't consistent. Anybody outside of him that you can think that you'd potentially want from them?
In terms of midfielders, Alzate would be another nailed one for them. Probably similar scores to Moranchuk. But I think both of them were let down last season by the front three just misfiring. They are expected, from the conversations I've had, Atlanta are still expected to sign a holding midfielder to kind of fill out their team, but it hasn't happened yet. So it'd be interesting. But the holding midfielder they've been linked with, the ones that they've been linked with, has been very much a kind of a midfield destroyer. So not really an SO5 scorer, but yeah, I wouldn't be too worried if I'm a holder of Miranchuk or Alzate and I see a midfielder signing for Atlanta. I wouldn't worry. It's not to take their position kind of thing. It's to fill a hole.
Yeah, 100%. How do you think they'll do this year?
I think it all depends on that front three. I think if they have a few early games and they score a couple of goals, I think they'll surprise people, because the rest of the team wasn't bad. Interested to see how they move on from Brooks Lennon. He was their main kind of set piece taker.
Where did he go?
He hasn't got anywhere yet. He's still.
I had a look yesterday at Brooks Lennon. I couldn't see a team listed for him, but yeah.
No, he's still. I'm surprised someone hasn't picked him up. I reckon he's still got. I mean, there's teams out there needing right backs. I know Minnesota are looking at a right back, so maybe he ends up there, but I doubt it. Probably won't pay him what he was being paid at Atlanta. But yeah, I think he'll turn up somewhere, but who knows where.
Got Amreezy just appeared in the chat. Says nice to see Hatton back on stream. But yeah, his internet's been good today. I'll be honest, I was pretty worried, but
thanks. Take that as a win.
But then moving on to DC United. Just having a look through them, names I recognise. Parani was on quite a lot of their set pieces and tended to do better when Benteke was in the team. I guess because he's got a big man too. But there's nobody that I would be looking to buy from there, really.
No, I'd be looking for this. Another team where I'll be looking at the forward options. If I was, they made a couple of good forward options in Baribo from Philly and Mutanu from Eastern Europe. I'd be happy with them, but they seem to have moved on from the big man up top. So whether that kind of affects Parani or a player like Peglo or Hopkins kind of scores. But yeah, that's not a midfield that I would look to stack.
No, 100%. San Diego, the next team up, and they've got one of the best defenders, best midfielders in terms of output last season in the game, Tavoski.
Yep.
Tavoskov, sorry. Whether I'm pronouncing that, my pronunciation is awful.
Tverskov.
Yeah, I'll go with that. So he would be the guy that you would want really from this team. And what I liked about him last season was that a lot of his scores came through AA. So when he did get a decisive, often they were like big scores. Him
or Valakari or Valakari. But again, if you're going to go for one of the two, Tverskov would be the one. Interesting to see if Morgan's a midfield card or a forward card.
I think he's definitely a midfielder anyway,
because he'll be battling with Invartson for that kind of number 9 role. So it could have been an option if he was a midfielder. But yeah,
stay fit. He misses more time than any player I've ever known.
yeah, true.
But yeah, okay. Vancouver, a team that did really well last season. They also had really sort of exciting style of play, sort of like high press, full energy, and it got them, very deep in the tournaments. They I guess, if it wasn't for Miami, then they were probably the best team, certainly the best team in terms of above expectations of what people were expecting last season. Do you think they can deliver the same again this year?
Yes and no. I think on the pitch they will. There's a lot of off the pitch stuff that's going on in terms of the ownership. As we know with a lot of other American sports, ownerships are attempting the relocation of the team, which there's a lot of backlash, obviously.
Where are they looking to move it to? Somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're probably looking to maybe move it into the actual USA rather than being a Canadian team. In order to kind of try and bring in revenue and bring in kind of better players. They kind of rolled the dice last year, made a few big money signings, Thomas Muller's and things like that to try and win, and obviously fell just short in the final.
There's still a pretty good return, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Hatton midfield was, a superstar, really, like a card that I picked up early on, and he did really well for me. As you can see, like strong AA, and when he was getting decisive, he was scoring those big scores. Be interesting to see whether he can sort of deliver that. Interestingly, they did a lot of it without Ryan Gould, who was out for the majority of last season.
Likely to be out for a little bit this season as well.
Is he literally not fit again to start the season?
He's had more surgery.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Middle of January, he had surgery and he's expected to be returning in April, but they said that last year and he returned in like October.
Yeah.
So
if they're going to do it again, they'll have to do it again without Ryan Gould. But like, if a fit Ryan Gould would be the other midfielder I'd want. Outside of that, Berhalter, Prizio can put up some nice scores occasionally, but he's more of a defensive midfielder.
Same with Kubas. Kubas can put up some good scores, but again, he'll be the one that sits back while Berhalter goes forward.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, moving on to LAFC. Let's have a look who they've got. Yeah, they've signed the guy from Porto, haven't they?
Yeah, and I'm hoping for big things. He's one of my in-season cards that I picked up for about £1. When there was rumours, I thought Canadian vice-captain, he's going to want to play before the World Cup. So yeah, I picked up his in-season card for about £1. And then about a week later, he was rumoured to LAFC. I expect him to be the nailed one. He's only on loan, so you don't tend to loan players in unless they're going to play for you. So I expect you've also got your Timothy Talmans, your Mark Delgados that are historically good scorers.
Yeah, Tillman can smash, can't he? But like he goes through phases, if I remember rightly. Like he can get sort of okay AA, and then suddenly he'll have a few games where he absolutely smashes.
Yeah, I think your main thing is those three would absolutely smash in another team where they got set pieces.
Yeah, and they're obviously not going to get them in this team, are they?
No, when you've got Sol and Buanga, you're just not gonna hit any set pieces whatsoever. So that might be why they go in peaks and troughs, because your international breaks, obviously Buanga with Gabon and Sol with South Korea. Maybe that's when they have their highs. But yeah, I expect Esther Queel to be their number one choice. And I expect Delgado and Tillman to go either side of him, but they're the ones that I'd say risk of rotation kind of thing.
It's been going on quite a while, I just realised. But so we'll try and whiz through some of the midfielders that aren't sort of relevant. Minnesota, if you're going to buy a midfielder, I guess it has to be Pereira.
Pereira or Triantis is the two that I'd recommend. Triantis has in-season cards. Well, before this, he has Sunderland cards. He scored a few goals towards the end of the season.
James Rodriguez is a midfielder.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm trying to temper my own expectation because he could be good. I don't think he's going to be as good as what everyone else got excited about, kind of thing. But
I just feel like he's come there to keep fit for the World Cup, and that's about it. It sort of aligns with his sort of like, making the team.
pretty much, the rumor is that his agent offered him to practically every MLS club, and Minnesota were the only ones who kind of presented an option to him. So it's almost oh, I want to trade in America. Who wants me? Kind of thing. Oh, you're the only team. You'll do.
Yeah. Seattle, Rusnak and Roldan are probably the two that I'm jumping at. Obi Vargas has obviously moved to the Europe to
Atletico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's gone. I don't know who's going to be replacing him in that sort of like midfield role.
They've signed a couple in
Dotson.
Dotson from Minnesota. He's a local Seattle, so he came through. He went to university in Seattle. He's born in Washington, Seattle, so he's a local boy. So he probably gets the games next to Christian Roldan, but you've got Petkovic that they signed from Charlotte. He'll get game time. But they've lost a lot of midfield. Obviously, Vargas has gone to Atletico Madrid. Leiva went to Necaxa in Mexico, and JP João Paulo has finally retired after his many injuries.
But yeah, you midfield from Seattle, and you wanted sort of deliver Roldan and Rusnak, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I call Roldan the real CR7. He's the one that's going to bang you hundreds. And nailed as well. He's never out of the team, because when they want to rotate the forward line, he plays right wing. If they go to 4 at the back, he plays right midfields as well as centre midfields. So yeah, him or Rusnak are the two you'll go to.
Moving on to Austin, Owen Wolff, bit of a superstar for me last season. I think I crafted his card and I was like, oh shit, and then realised that he was absolute superstar, and he was like absolute gold dust for me when I played him. And I think he was in a winning team for me at one point last season as well. So he delivered some decent scores. Also, I believe he was injured for a bit. Maybe not, but anyway, he was a bit of a superstar last season. I had a majority of the set pieces. I imagine he'll keep them for this year.
Yeah, Austin's a weird one. They've made a lot of signings, so it's how they're going to line up. So yeah, I still expect Owen Wolff to be one of their best players. But they've got Rosales in from Minnesota. They got Fernando Torres in, ex Orlando. They got Jaden Nelson in from Vancouver. So
looking like all of those are like forward or defender cards, but
yeah. So, but the way they play, so Rosales will play kind of holding midfielder / left wing back. Fernando Torres can play 10. So it all depends on how they're going to work out. I think it's just one of them that they've made so many signings in so many different positions that people don't know. There's also Uzini, the forward. I know he's a forward, but he was offered out, and he was supposed to be their talisman, and he was offered out to Turkish clubs at the end of the Europe transfer window. So I think it's one of them that we just won't know who will be their nailed players for a good 2 or 3 game weeks.
Yeah. And obviously the transfer window doesn't close for a while as well, does it? So,
end of March.
Yeah.
So yeah, still. And this position is where MLS teams do their best work, because Europe's closed. Turkey's closed, which is normally a little bit after. They normally wait for the South American ones to close, and then they do a lot of their best work then, because you've got players that are necessarily not playing, that were hoping for a Europe move in January or move away from Europe in January that didn't get one. The MLS can offer them a way out, kind of thing.
Right. Dallas.
Another one I'd stay away from. Lucho was the one to go for. Expected a lot of things from him last year, but he left halfway through the year of not really playing. Again, it's another team where I'd pick up forwards, but I wouldn't pick up any midfielders if I'm truly honest.
Well, let's move on to Portland then. And Portland have lost their best midfielder. They still have David DaCosta, but he sort of like was a bit meh last season. Normally I get into a bit of Portland action, but I'm sort of not considering it really this year. Anyone apart from DaCosta? I mean, DaCosta might be on, hopefully will be on sets, but
See, I think sets will go to Cole Bassett. He's a new signing from Colorado.
You think?
Yeah, I think he was getting unbelievable scores at Colorado, has taken all the sets, taking pens every, and then Mihalovic come in and took all these sets off him, so his scores dropped. But he's in this off season has moved to Portland. So I'm actually expecting him to get the kind of sets and things like that. So he's one that I'd maybe, if I'm looking for a cheaper midfield option with the uptake of DAs, is one that I'd look at.
He's gone on my list. Thank you very much. You dragged me back into Portland. Real Salt Lake. Pablo Ruiz is a card I historically bought, but he was injured part last year and then wasn't really playing a huge amount because they had sort of other options. Diego Luna is a bit of a young superstar for them and can deliver very high scores. Very high, more sporadic, but he's decent. And
I'm a very big Diego Luna fan. I think he's unreal.
He's a great player. We talk about more from a Sorare point of view, but he can definitely deliver. And if you can get him for the right price, a decent card to pick up.
Yeah, I think one that another one they got Spearins, who's another European signing they've made. I expect him to slot straight in, probably take the Pablo Ruiz position. So yeah, he's another one that I'm hoping that he'll deliver some good scores.
So we look through San Jose Earthquakes. Obviously, they have lost. This is like a weird situation. They've lost their best player, Espinoza. They've also lost Arango, who's gone. They've signed Timo Werner, who we'll get to in a minute. Who's going to supply them?
No one.
Yeah, it's a real rough move for him.
Yeah, I was expecting him to come in and then a couple of days later to there to be a big number 10 DP signing. Because I just don't think you get someone like Timo Werner. And I'm not saying he's an all-star, but he probably had quite especially being in the Red Bulls thing, expecting him to put up at New York or anything like that. That I would just expect part of the conversation to say, yeah, you signed for us. We've got this player coming in. And it just hasn't happened because I just think he's going to be sat there waiting for the ball and not receive it, or he's going to be expected to do a Messi and do everything on his own, which he's just not that player. So yeah, another team I would stick away from. Yeah,
definitely be avoiding the Earthquakes at the start of the year. Colorado Rapids.
Another one of those teams that kind of flatter to deceive. I think, Paxton Harrison again. He's probably, now I've mentioned him, got a forward card instead of a midfield card. Atencio from Seattle. They got him from Seattle last season. I had big things for him, but he didn't really push on. He's a youngster. They've made a signing from Europe in Ojediran from Lens, who they've got big hopes for. So. Yeah, if Aronson's a midfield card, that's where I'm going for. If he's a forward card, again, I'd probably stay away from Rapids.
Yeah. Houston. Main guy obviously got injured partway through last season, but it looks like he's going to be fit for the start of the season, I believe. Jack McGlynn.
Yes. Yeah. I think my only worry with McGlynn that he may not get the numbers from last season is because they've got Hector Herrera back. And he's obviously God in Houston. And I expect if he's playing to take some of the set pieces off McGlynn.
And they've also got Bogarts, who went from LAFC, where he was a smasher, down to
Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul, and played the first few games, didn't really put up any decent scores. And then he's come straight back to the MLS. So it'd be interesting to see how he sort of fits in. Although he's a kind of guy that I'd prefer as a forward card, but
yeah, big money they've spent for him as well. I think it was $10 million on Bogus. So you've got to assume that he's going to be the number 10 or left winger for Houston, and probably looking at Herrera and McGlynn being a bit further back. So again, whether that will play a part in McGlynn's scores. It's actually one that I predict not to have as good a season as he did last season.
Don't say that. I've got loads of McGlynns.
I have as well.
Yeah. Move on to St. Louis. Hartel was big things were expected of him last season. He was one of my big money signings at the start of last season.
Yeah, same.
But he didn't really deliver. But he did come into some better form back end of the season. Hopefully, he can carry that through this year.
Yeah, you've got. They've also made another Europe signing in Polvara from St. Louis. He's probably going to play centre back for them. So if he's a midfielder card playing centre back, you might benefit from some of those tackles and interceptions that he's likely to get. But I think he's one of the ones. They play 3 at the back, he'll play centre back. If they play 4 at the back, he'll move into midfield. But yeah, Hartel's the way to go. And hopefully, hopefully he's having a better season.
We've got Jimbo in the chat saying, if Sargent was to move to Toronto, would you expect good things from him in the MLS? Well, I mean, my immediate thought is he's moving to Toronto, so that's not a good start. What would you reckon, Hatton?
Same. I think if I was him, I'd want to move to any other club. But Toronto, because of the getting rid of your Insignes, your Bernadeschi, seem to have money this off season. I'd probably put it back to Jimbo and say, do you want him to stay at Norwich after all the carry on that's been on recently, where he's just refusing to play or train, kind of thing?
Yeah, could turn out like Alexander Isak, go there, be shit, and then get injured.
Yeah.
But so Hartel, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Lowen is pretty good as well. No one else. Moving on to LA Galaxy. Ricky Puig. Obviously, they were holding out hope he'd be back for the end of the playoffs last season. They didn't make the playoffs. He didn't come back anyway, regardless. This season, he's done his bloody ACL again.
Yeah, he's had the same surgery that he had last season.
It's a bit hard because he was like probably the best player to have for So Rare.
Yeah.
Like 2 seasons ago now, nearly.
I think they know he's not going to play at all this season because they've dropped him out of the DP. They've taken him off the DP list.
Yeah, well, they kept him on there last season, which really screwed their year because it meant that his salary was just sitting there eating salary cap, and they couldn't bring in replacements.
Yeah, so they've taken him off and they've brought in not that we're talking about forwards, but Klaus from St. Louis. But the one that I'm excited for is Eric Tommy. They've got him in from Sporting Kansas.
Yeah, I like Eric Tommy. Yeah.
So people will hear Sporting Kansas and go, "Oh," but he carried Sporting Kansas for the last few years. And I think if he plays that Puig position, his scores and price could absolutely rocket. So I expect
he's going on the list.
Yeah, Galaxy's one of them teams that I think people might sleep on, but they've made some really good signing. Glesnes, as I mentioned earlier, from Philly, Hack from New York City, Tommy and Klaus, I think, are just that in itself as a stack is, in my opinion, will hit streaks, no problem.
Yeah. Right, moving on to Sporting Kansas City. They are the final team, and if I'm honest, they're a team I would avoid. If I was going for one of the midfielders, I guess it would be Manu Garcia, who I believe has some of the sets. But yeah, nothing really jumps out at me there.
Much like real life, I think everyone should stay away from Sporting Kansas City. They only have about 12 players on their books currently. So if you're looking at a full collection, probably a cheaper one.
Yeah. If you're looking for guaranteed starters, you're probably a good way to go.
Exactly. What I will say is 2 days ago, they played against Minnesota in a friendly, and it was Sporting Kansas City's, I think, second or third friendly. It was Minnesota's first friendly of the offseason, and Minnesota won 3-0. And on the bench for Kansas City was a lot of youngsters and reserve players just to fill the team up. So yeah, unless they suddenly go and splash the cash in the rest of the window, I'd be staying away from Sporting Kansas. Even their kind of superstars in Jovovic up top, he's just not going to get the service really to do anything.
Right, let's move on to forwards then. We'll run through the teams as they appear then card-wise on So Rare again. So we'll be starting with Philadelphia. We'll try and concentrate on cheaper players who could deliver, superstars, and maybe the odd under a radar guy. Looking at Philadelphia, Diarmi was somebody that was sort of okay for me last season. And I'm guessing, I was going to say it would be cheaper, but he's already at 12 quid. Ilioski is 36 quid currently. But I think those are the only two I'd really look at. But
Ilioski's a player I reckon, although he done well last year, is going to do even better this season. He's probably going to get Wagner's sets. So there's more AA, more DAs possibly. If you're not going to spend out for Ilioski, Diamani's probably the only other one. Barry.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we've lost Hatton. Hopefully he'll be logging back in just a jiffy. But I was speaking too soon about his internet. I won't reformat the screen with me at the moment. But if we're just talking about sort of like Philadelphia, Diarmi is the guy that I had last season. He was decent. He was U23, and he was always a bit of a decent option for me to fill teams out, but he never really made my main teams. Ilioski, as Hatton says, if he gets set pieces, then he could potentially be a smasher. Hopefully Hatton will log back in a sec, but in the meantime, we'll move back on to Cincinnati. Denke, I noticed pre-season has been smashing in the goals, as in he's scored a goal most games. Are you back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Sorry. I don't know how much you heard of me about Philadelphia.
I heard about the sort of the set pieces and stuff like that. Then I think you disappeared. But we'll move on to we literally just moved on to Cincinnati. And I was just saying that I noticed Denke has been scoring goals in pre-season.
Yeah.
But it's looking like his price is expensive already.
If you're not going for Denke, you got Jabari, who's a new signing from France. I expect Evander to play the 10 below them too, so it's either Denke or Jabari, in my opinion.
Yeah. Outside of that, nobody, I don't think. Brian Ramirez as a forward card.
Yeah, I think he'll be the kind of rotation option off the bench.
Yeah, he's come from bloody hell, Ecuador. Yeah, Ecuador. He's from Ecuador. But he was playing in Ecuador last season. But it'd be interesting to see whether he gets a game. Moving on to Inter Miami, and guess Suarez has stayed another season. But they have obviously got Leo Messi currently at 237 quid, probably justified. I think when he's fit, he plays, but at his age, he chooses the games that he plays. I think the manager has said that he knows his body, so he just asks him, "Are you happy to play?" And he says no, then he rests him. Interesting signing they've brought in the last few days or in last week was Bertaram from Mexico, who played for Monterrey and was a bit of a superstar for them. As you can see, his price is pretty high. It'll be interesting to see the fit in. I mean, I look at it as either Messi will play and then him or Suarez will play. Do you see it any differently? I mean, to be honest, I haven't really been following it a huge amount. So
I expect Bertrame to play pretty much every game, and Suarez to not play very often.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expect, saying that if Messi isn't the leading goal scorer this season, then I think this guy could be.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's interesting to see when in the playoffs, when Suarez wasn't playing, you had Allende that went up top and he broke records for the amount of goals in playoffs. And I think that will happen with Bertrame. I think he will just be fed by Messi non-stop. I think where Suarez was that sort of player that was involved in build-up, Bertrame is literally there to score goals.
Yeah.
I think I don't see it any differently to you.
And I think looking at the prices are going to be chucked off a little bit because people are trying to complete collections early. Try and get their 5% boosted players immediately. So, that's why you're seeing some players that, maybe aren't going to get as many starts as other guys get at prices jumping up. It'll be interesting sort of after when we get sort of the 5 or 6 auctions, what the prices are, which should happen pretty rapidly, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Anyone outside of them that you consider for them?
No.
I mean, Messi's the GOAT, when he plays, you deliver. I'm maybe a little bit more worried that he will sort of protect himself a little bit more for the final World Cup, but I still think he's a guy that you've got to have in your team.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see whether they prioritize the CONCACAF to start off with, because I think that could see him moving out of the MLS team, because obviously that's where the money will be early on if they're looking for that prize money. But yeah, I can see him maybe some of the midweek long away games staying at home to keep himself fit. In both MLS and CONCACAF, especially with, we're expecting this to be his final Europe international competition, aren't we? So I'm expecting he's not going to want to take that risk of not being 100% fit for it.
Do you think there's any chance that he retires after the World Cup and just said, like, that's it, I'm done?
I don't see so. I did think that would happen when he originally had his contract just the end of this season, but in October time, I might be completely wrong there, but in October time he signed another 2-year extension, so he's got a contract until 2028.
And they're getting a stadium next year, haven't they, Miami? And I think I believe it's next year, and they were hoping that he would play in the new stadium.
Yeah, so I think they wouldn't have. I think he wouldn't have signed the contract if he didn't think he was going to be there. I think they would have left it as 2026, and then he would have maybe decided after the World Cup, actually, no, I will do another couple of years or something like that. But I think especially with how high profile they made it about him signing a new contract, I don't think Miami as an institution with the owners they've got will want that egg on their face if suddenly he goes, yeah, I've retired.
I saw an interview where he said, actually, I really like it, Miami. It's a place I can imagine settling down after my career as well. So
it does. A lot of the first year he was there, the first 6 months he was there was a lot of rumors that they weren't integrating very well and he wasn't enjoying it, and he was traveling down to Argentina a lot and stuff like that. But the stories that I've heard from the last couple of seasons is that his family are really settled. He's moving more family members kind of over from like Argentina and stuff like that. So I think he's quite happy there.
Yeah. Moving on to Charlotte. Anybody that jumps out to you from there?
Zaha. But as we know with Zaha, he can get sent off just as many times as he gets goals.
He likes falling out with fans as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. So that's it with Charlotte. The other kind of maybe under the radar one, maybe Kerwin Vargas. But he's just on that same sort of level as Zaha. He's not gonna smash you 60, 70 every week. He's gonna get a 33 every now and again.
Unless Charlotte have a big season, and then he probably would be getting some of the scores. But they're not a team that immediately leaps out at me.
No, same.
New York.
Big one with New York is that Martinez is injured. Alonso Martinez, their main guy from last season, he's injured.
And he's 9 then to start the season.
He's out for a while. He's gonna miss most. It's an ACL. So the forward is probably going to be that Fernandez Mercal, who played on the wing for them last season. So it's just going to be a completely different player to the bagsman that is Martinez.
Yeah, doesn't look like he has a card. Maybe he was a midfielder. I didn't look.
He was a midfielder last year. So whether they've just continued that this year,
then he's definitely someone to avoid.
Yeah, either that or again another midfield card. Again, was last year. Could be wrong. They got the youngster Thales Magno.
He's a forward card this year.
Yeah, he's flattered to deceive when he has had games, but I've heard in pre-season he's been played in that kind of second striker role. So he might be one to pick up, but I think it's going to be something to look out for how they play without Martinez.
Go back far enough, and Magno was a bit of a superstar when he first dropped into the league, and he sort of, he just tailed off, hasn't he, really?
Yeah. I think they expected big things. I think this is almost the final straw for it. No Martinez, give him the number 9 and or the number 9 role, sorry, and see if he does well or if he doesn't. Get rid.
Moving on to Nashville, popular stack amongst people. Obviously, Hani Mukhtar is the midfielder card. Having Espinoza as the full card is interesting because it does mean that you could build a pretty decent stack. It'd be interesting to see how he does as a full card, but he is an offensive player, so he won't lose possession. But if he's not on set pieces, or maybe if he's on a share of them, then the lost possession won't hurt him as much. Like if he was going to be on set pieces as a full card, I'd be very keen on him. As a full card without set pieces, not quite as keen, and it's going to be one of those where it would depend on how he links up with Hani Mukhtar and the rest of the team.
Yeah, the other interesting is how Sam Surridge does after last year, because obviously last year he rivaled Messi for the top goal scorer. So it'd be interesting if he hits those heights, because the season before he wasn't as good. So was it just a 1-year wonder, or is he now a great striker in the MLS kind of thing?
Yeah, his price is already up at 30 quid.
Yeah, it's a lot of people taking bets on the fact he's going to continue what he did last season then.
Yeah, well, Espinoza is a good player. So with Espinoza and Hani Mukhtar on the team, there should be sort of like, more creativity. Be interesting to see, and if he can continue it, then yes, he's got a bit more goal dependent, but he's still a decent forward to pick up.
Yeah, exactly that.
Columbus Crew. God, in the old day, like a couple of seasons ago, these would be I want him, but obviously,
No Rossi has put a downer for me.
I mean, they've pretty much off some, but he's not really a forward.
No, he'll play left back, which is why I was surprised he's still a forward card.
I was hoping for a forward card that will be starting every game.
Abdou Ali, is that a forward card? Wassim Abdou Ali. Pardon?
Have they brought him in recently? No, he was there last season.
He got injured, so they brought him in the summer. Played about 2 games, got injured, and then come back towards the end of the season. Him, or they've got Thier from Atlanta. But again, he was pretty poor at Atlanta, so why Columbus have taken a risk on him, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's annoying because, like, you're right. You would have, 2 seasons ago, would have spent all your money on Rossi and Cucho as your forward options for any stack kind of thing, and now you're just not taking any.
Yeah, there's nothing there that would do. Well, maybe Abdou Ali, I hadn't really sort of noticed him before, but I guess when you're looking through the list, if you know nothing about MLS, just look for the list and see who people are bidding on. If prices are high for their team, then it's likely that people have got high expectations for that player. Whether he delivers is a completely different matter. Chicago forwards, Zinkernagel,
Kuipers,
Bamba.
That's your front three.
Yeah.
And in my head, I would target them in that order. I'd go Zinkernagel first, Kuipers, and then Bamba.
He was on sets, wasn't he, Zinkernagel?
Yeah, sets, a lot of assists for Kuipers and a lot of attempted assists with Kuipers BCMs. But Zinkernagel would be the one that I would go for if I was looking for a Chicago forward line.
Right. Orlando. Obviously, with Hayder becoming midfielder again, it throws a bit of a spanner in the works. But Duncan Maguire, as you said earlier, and then Pasalic, who's now got forward cards. I think his Orlando cards last year certainly were midfielder cards.
And they got a new sign in Thiago. I don't know if he's on there yet.
Yeah, he's there already, yeah.
So I'm expecting the forward line, obviously Hayder and Pasalic to be just behind, but the number 10 or the number 9 will be Maguire or Thiago, but we don't know which one, or at least off the top of my head, I don't know which one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Thiago's a young lad, obviously come from Brazil. Tends to be a lot of expectation about him, but the prices aren't particularly high on either of them at the moment. So
I think that's representative in the fact that people don't know which one's going to be the nailed starter.
Yeah, it's certainly one to keep an eye on anyway.
Yeah.
I'll tag him as a follow just to keep an eye on the price of the card. Moving on to New York Red Bulls, we've got Cade Cowell as a forward card, Emmy Forsberg as a forward card. Obviously, Choupo-Moting is there, the OAP.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, they've got a shitload of forward cards.
Yeah.
Hang on, what's going on here? 1, 2, 6, 10, 14. I'm not even going to the next page yet, but currently they've got 14 forward cards up there. Out of that, I mean, Forsberg probably be the one that leaps out at me, and the fact he's a forward card as well means he's going to get less lost points for lost possession, and when he's on set pieces, that's a big deal. So potentially could be higher scores for Forsberg.
Yeah, Forsberg and Cade Cowell are the two that I would be going for. Cade Cowell coming back from Mexico. I think it was Guadalajara, I think he was at. But I'm hoping for big things from him when he comes back. And I expect them to kind of work in tandem with Choupo-Moting. And then it remains to be seen because they normally do the 4-3-3. So it remains to be seen who kind of plays that right wing. I think people I've spoken to reckon that Ravalkaba will be the option there. So he may be a cheap option depending on the prices of the other 12 forwards or however many you said.
Yeah. No, 16 that I can see at the moment. Yeah. ones. Let's go on to the next page, see if any more pop up. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting with some of these teams. I know now we're on to New York Red Bulls. I'll let you talk about them for 2 seconds. I'm just going to go and top of my drink.
No worries. So New York Red Bulls, like we just said, Choupo-Moting, Cowell, and Forsberg will be the ones that I would pick. I'd probably go. Forsberg is my main option. Like Monkey said, set pieces. Remains to be seen whether the forward card does well for him in that regard. Choupo-Moting's spits and starts kind of thing, isn't it? It's will get a couple of goals in a couple of games, but then he will drop off and be a 33, 36 merchant for a few games. But yeah, as I said, I'm excited for Cade Cowell to come back into the league and see whether he's any better than he was previously, whereas I think he was at Montreal before. It'd be interesting to see. Just a quickly look at the marketplace while we're waiting for Monkey to come back and see what people are saying about Red Bulls. Forward. Yeah, Choupo-Moting's not had much bids. Forsberg's up to £15. Cade Cowell's at £3, so he might be a cheaper option. Marshall Rutte is a new signing, so he may get that kind of right wing position. Was just saying the one that I missed until I looked at the market for Red Bulls is Marshall Rutte. He's just recently coming over from I think it was Columbus that he was at before.
Yeah, no, I did see him. Yeah.
Oh, and so he was Columbus, and then he was Montreal, or Montreal, then Columbus, whichever way. Charlotte, sorry, not Montreal, Charlotte. So it'd be interesting to see whether he gets that right wing position either side of Choupo-Moting and Cade Cowell. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of forward cards that I've never even heard of. A lot of 90. There's a 17-year-old.
Yeah, if you want to go for the Red Bulls, it'd probably be quite easy to rattle up 5% quite quickly, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but probably on players that might not see you much game time.
Yeah, exactly. Straight in the vault kind of guys. But
Yeah.
what did you say about the Revs then? Griffin Yao is probably the main guy to go for. Campanar, obviously, decent forward, but hasn't really sort of like he is a bit goal dependent, isn't he? You're looking at sort of like a low 30 score or a 60.
Yeah, he's score a goal and that's it. If he doesn't get a DA, he's getting a BCM and 30 to 36 sort of score. Yao would be the one that I'd go for. The only other one maybe is Langoni. But again, he's very up and down, in and out of the team as well. So remains to be seen if he gets that right wing position. But Yao would probably be the only one that I'd target.
Toronto next. They only have 3 cards, although it's sounding like Josh Sargent could be making his way there at the moment. And 3 players that really don't excite me. In fact, buying Toronto guys doesn't really excite me. But
No, I think what is it? DeAndre Kerr?
yeah,
Probably the one that sits back.
Corbinieu and Vilcent.
Yeah, and Corbedow is probably the only nailed one. But he'll lose. He dropped points when Mihalovic came in because Mihalovic started taking all the sets and things like that. So, yeah, Toronto's another one that I'd stay away from.
Yeah. Maybe if Sargent goes there, if he can build a relationship with Mihalovic, then maybe. But I just don't see Toronto doing particularly well.
No.
But, there are always surprise teams each season. I just don't see it being them. Montreal, they have 8 forwards up there. Again, a team I don't really expect much from. Anybody there that would jump out of you as a player to buy?
Prince Owusu is probably the only one.
Yeah.
But again, he's pretty much what Ben Teke was at DC United. He's a tall bloke that will score a goal or not touch the ball all game kind of thing. So you're looking for a cheaper option on a good game week, maybe. But other than that, unless suddenly someone from the Montreal midfield starts becoming a bit of a magician setting up for him, I wouldn't go anywhere near.
Yeah, completely agree. Atalanta, things will be expected of them. They've only got 4 forward cards: Almiron, Lobjanski, I'll probably pronounce it Lob, we'll call him, and Latila. Latila was a big money signing last season. Sorry, middle of last season during the winter break. He came from Middlesbrough. He was a bit of a superstar at Middlesbrough, and as you can see, I think he started okay, didn't he? And then he just their form just dropped away.
Yeah, I think the whole team suffered last season.
Yeah.
I think Latte Laff has he's been given the number 9 for this season. So they've updated his shirt number. So I think he'll be the go-to guy up front. Remains to be seen whether Almiron's scores are any better as a forward than what they were as a midfielder.
He was a forward last season as well.
Oh, was he? I'm sure midfield Newcastle card somewhere.
Yeah, no, he's midfielder at Newcastle. Then he went across and got the Atalanta. He got full cards.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he had some great games, but it was just a bit patchy. But I think it was just a little bit like their season, really. Just sort of like, flattered to deceive, and it just didn't turn out well. But if they can sort of click, then they could be a team that smashes. But Latilar, I think, is probably going to be more goal dependent than anything else, and it will depend on the rest of the guys sort of supplying him.
Yeah, exactly.
United moved on from Benteke. Peglo, I think, was a guy that played in his place when he was injured. They got Tyberibo, but they're not really a team that I'm looking at for. Jared Stroud, I'm sure he was a midfielder in the past.
Yeah, maybe thinking of Stroud from what was Red Bulls, that's now Minnesota.
Yeah.
Peter Stroud.
Either way, none of the DC United forwards excite me.
Baribo excites me, but
really?
Baribo at Philadelphia excites me. I'm not sure whether Baribo at DC United excites me.
Yeah, he was a decent player at Philadelphia, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he's moved. To be fair, I'm interested to see what this Muntenau guy is like, because he's been a Football Manager wonder kid for a few years now, and they've put a big money in. I think they've spent about 7 million on him, so it'll be interesting to see what he comes in and does. He was someone who was linked with Celtic last season, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether he comes in and hits the ground running.
Yeah. Yeah, traditionally DC United haven't been great, but moving on to San Diego, a team that were great last season. Obviously, we spoke about Chucky Lozano earlier, and him unlikely to be there. Andres Dreyer, I imagine his price would be high. Yeah, 122 already. He's a bit of a superstar for them last season. Lewis Morgan has come in this season, but he's not the Scottish Lewis Morgan. He's coming as an English Lewis Morgan.
I needed to look at that. I'm sure he was. So someone's probably telling us in the chat that we're wrong, but I'm sure.
No, he's definitely Scottish, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting over that. Pellegrino was quite decent in spurts. He was playing when Chucky Lozano was out of the team. Up front, will it be Ingvardsson or Lewis Morgan? Answer is I don't know. But Lewis Morgan has got an awful injury record. So even if he starts the season, don't pay a lot for him, because he's yeah. But Dry was wide to go, and Dry was one of the best cards in MLS full stop.
Yeah, Dreyer is the only card that I'd pick out for the in between of Ingvardsson and Morgan is the stay away from. If the first CCC game is anything to go about, Morgan wasn't in the squad. So whether he's still building fitness up or anything,
already injured.
Yeah, so Ingvardsson's probably got the shirt to start the season with, but like you say, don't know whether it's going to continue like that kind of thing. But yeah, Dreyer would be the only one I'd go for now that Lozano's not in the picture.
Yeah, Vancouver.
Thomas Muller. That's pretty much it. Brian White's a very good forward, but I think Muller's just gonna steal the show, especially with no Ryan Gould there. The other positions, in my opinion, are very up in the air. So your Sabi, your Sabalai, things like that are going to be in and out of the team, so I'd stay away from.
Sabi was decent when he played, but like you said, he was in and out of the team, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
Moving on to LAFC, probably two of the superstar forwards in the game. Min, already up at 115 quid and probably worth every penny. He will be expensive for a while if he stays fit. And then Dennis Bouanga, who's a lot cheaper, but he can put up equally as big scores as Son. So
he lost some of his AA because he lost his sets to Song.
Yeah.
There's also still loads of rumours of him moving on, as there is every transfer window. So I think people are maybe worried that he might go off to Brazil and not be at LAFC.
Yeah. Outside of those two, you're talking prospects. David Martinez, I think, is someone that was sort of quite highly thought of. Abu Bissay plays, but will he be the 9? Shall we look?
Maybe. No, I think Song's going to be the 9.
You reckon? And then they'll play one of the youngsters on the wing, the other side, like or Daz.
Yeah, they've recently signed Schaffelberg from the Nashville, but he's had surgery, so he's going to be out until the end of March. I think I might be wrong with that. Just trying to look at my notes, but yeah, I think Schaffelberg might be out for a couple of months or so. But yeah,
Martinez could be the guy.
Yeah, I think it's that toss up between Ordaz and Martinez. I think I would lean towards Ordaz myself, but
yeah,
maybe you want to take that risk kind of thing.
But if you're building an LAFC side, then probably Son is the main guy, and then after that, Bouanga.
Yeah.
Minnesota, a lot of forwards, 10 forwards. No, not 10, 9 forwards. Who are you thinking?
Yeboah's the out-and-out striker. He's penalty taker. Wasn't that great last season, but had his injury issues. He's come back this summer and he's put a big interview out there saying his body is fully fit and stuff like that. So expecting big things of him. We've signed Chancellor from New England.
He was a player I quite liked. Sort of, when you saw him, and big things were expected of him, but he just didn't really deliver.
Yeah, his first year at New England was really good. Then he got a big injury, and then last season coming back from that injury, they almost kind of rushed him back, and he wasn't really. And again, he came into a struggling New England side, so expecting better things from him. You've got kind of what I would call jobbers in terms of Bongo Halonwade. He'll play either right back or right wing, but his scores aren't great. You've got a player that I was really high hopes on, and I think everyone did. Dominic Fitz is here, forward card from Austria.
No.
So they've moved him to midfield. He was a forward card with his Austrian cards, so he'll have in-season Austrian forward cards if you wanted to put that. But I'm not sure whether he, especially with the starting of James, will he get into the team? I hope so. Because I think a lot of people will be coming at me because I obviously was really happy he signed last year, and a lot of people were very unhappy after he left, scoring hundreds in Austria to come to Minnesota. But yeah, if you'd pick your Bauer or Chancellor, probably your nailed ones.
His midfielder cards, but obviously you can still buy the forward cards from Austria Vienna.
Yeah, I think they when I looked earlier about £13-15.
Yeah. But
if he starts playing, maybe then prices go up because people want the forward card rather than the midfielder card.
Right, Seattle. Jordan Morris, Jesus Ferreira, De La Vega good when he's on form. This guy's blind in one eye, but
Georgie,
I don't let that put you off.
He's very good.
Rock can be decent in spurts, but I guess Jesus Ferreira is the main guy I'd be looking at.
Yeah, it's the Jordan Morris situation is a bit of a weird one because he seemed to be their out and out. But when they played a friendly the other day, they played a team of all the starters, with Thomas in goal and Di Rosario up top, and not Jordan Morris. So people are thinking that maybe Di Rosario gets a bigger role this season. Morris had a lot
last year. I mean, he did goals, but yeah.
Mazowski and Morris both had their kind of injury issues last year.
I prefer Morris on the wing anyway, but
yeah, I think it will be. It all depends as well. You got Areola that's coming back from a big injury, so whether he gets that left wing position again over Rothrock, they've got a lot of options, and I think it's one of them of you're just trying to pick the right one each week.
Yeah, 100%.
Ferreira's probably the one that I'd say is nailed because he could play the 10, the right wing, the left wing, and up front. So you're more likely that he's going to fit in one of them.
Yeah, and big things were expected of him. People thought he was going to smash moving to Seattle. It didn't really happen last season. We did see a few games, but it'd be interesting if you can sort of carry on, or pick up the form for this year.
Especially with 6 months into the World Cup and the forward position at USA is very open.
Yeah. Austin, Brandon Vasquez, Facundo Torres obviously come in. I think there could be a team that maybe surprise a few people this year.
Right, okay. Again, I think when we said with the midfielders, I just think they've just made a lot of signings that it's just quite hard to know who's going to start. So I think if you maybe could go early and get the collection or a big load of them for quite cheap if people don't know who to start, and then have a couple of game weeks where you don't know, but then by the 3rd or 4th game, once you know the starters, you've got them for cheap. Kind of thing.
Well, Facundo Torres is already nearly 25 quid anyway. But
yeah, I think people are expecting him to carry on the Orlando scores.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Dallas. Peter Musa did all right last season.
Peter Musa and Logan Farrington are the two. I wouldn't even look at kind of anyone else. They'll play two up top with those two.
Yeah.
But both of them are just poachers. They're just goal scorers. So yeah, I'd those two are the only two I'd go for. Probably the only two I'd go for through the whole of Dallas.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's nothing. I'm just looking at the other guys. There's nothing there. Move on to Portland. J-Rod, I believe they've waived him today, haven't they?
Yes. I don't know if it was today, but I know that it was expected.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I think he was the leading goal scorer 2 seasons ago, and then had his injury problems last season. But yeah, no, he's not going to be with the squad, although the card is up there, obviously. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with where he ends up.
Felipe Mora and Kevin Kelsey and maybe Anthony. That's probably the front three.
Yeah, Kelsey was a big signing last season who didn't really deliver. Anthony, again, a guy that sort of, plays in fits and starts, but when he plays, he can deliver big numbers. But I don't know, I just feel like Portland are a little bit weaker this year.
Yeah, agreed.
Real Salt Lake. Just looking through the list. I mean, I don't recognise any of these.
So they signed Morgan Gulavogli from Lens in France. He's probably going to be the focal point. And then you've got the youngster Xavier Gozo. That'll probably play on one of the wings with Luna playing on the other wing. That's probably your front three. But Luna, I think you said, has got midfield cards. So yeah, it's probably Gulavogli and Gozo are probably the only ones that are worth going for.
Yeah. Real Salt Lake, Timo Werner.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Jukanovic is quite good in spurts. I know that because I've had his card a few times, but he's not really sort of continued to develop as much as I think they were hoping for. Buda, again, a player who's okay. Preston Judd is just sort of like a bit of a stocking filler, but Timo Werner is the main guy. But my main worry for Timo Werner is who's going to supply him. We spoke about it earlier. It's just like they've let Espinoza go, and unless they do some big business in the next sort of week or two, then it could be a long season for Werner.
Agreed. I'd stayed away from his in-season Leipzig card for that reason, because he went very expensive early on because he's Werner, but I don't think he scores because he's not going to get fed by anyone.
Yeah, right. Colorado Rapids, again, quite a few cards. Jaron Yappy as a forward card. A lot of big things were expected of him.
Yeah.
Navarro was one of the main guys and did go through spells of delivering quite a few goals. He was really expensive at one point, but yeah, so he can do it. Those are about the only two that are really sort of jump out at me. Is there anybody that I'm missing here?
No, I couldn't remember whether we said it for midfielders, but was Aronson a midfielder card or a forward card?
Midfielder,
yeah. So it'll be Navarro up top, Yappy kind of on one of the wings. You've got, again, I think he's a midfielder card, but they got Ku Di Petro that they got from DC United.
Yeah.
That will probably play on the other wing, or Dante Seeley, but they're all players that they're not going to win you competitions.
No, Navarro might do if he can refine that sort of form, but that will depend on, if he does do that, then Aronson will have a big season anyway, and so will Yappy, because they'll be the guys that are sort of supplying him.
Yeah, exactly that.
Austin, Guilherme signed him from Brazil.
Austin?
Yeah. Not Austin. Houston.
Yes. As I said, I thought we'd done. Houston, yeah, Guilherme. They also signed Markanovic from the lower leagues in America. Big things are expected of him. He's the brother of the guy that plays for Minnesota. He's got some minutes in preseason as well. And you've got Ponce. He was a big signing last season. There was a lot expected of him. and not much happened. So yeah, if you're looking at Houston to pair with your McGlynns and your Herreras, I'd probably go down the Guilherme route rather than anyone else.
Yeah, as you can see, when he started in Brazil, he was fairly decent, but it'll be interesting. Like, I guess, maybe he's an under the radar pick, but people will look at his L15 and probably will sort of like, go down the route of wanting to buy him, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 12 quid at the moment. If you can get him at a reasonable price, he's not a bad guy. As you said, Ponce as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they develop. St. Louis, they lost Klaus.
Yeah.
Who's going to be this replacement for Klaus?
I think it's a bit up in the air. You've got Becker, who was kind of his understubby last year. So he's probably the one that gets the shirt to start off with. I reckon they probably replace Klaus with the rest of the transfer window. So it'll be just interesting to see who they bring in the meantime.
Yeah, there's no one else there that really jumps out at me at the moment.
No.
John Bin. Wasn't he from Minnesota? Didn't he go there for a while?
Yeah, Sam Bin, yeah. He's really good until he gets in front of goal.
Yeah, not great for a forward card.
No, exactly. But yeah, big things were expected of him when he was at Minnesota, but just didn't really kick on.
And then we move on to the Galaxy. Gabriel Peck, who's an absolute goat the season that Ricky Puig was fit. They were, just generally as a team last season, they were pretty awful. But he still delivered some decent numbers, and as you can see by his price, if they can be better, then he can be a guy that can deliver big numbers. Same with Paint. So as you said earlier, they've brought in Klaus. Anything else that sort of jumps out at you?
No, that'll be your front three. I think we could see a return to the scores that they had when they had your Puig, Peck, Lovacic, and Christian Ramirez.
Tommy steps up.
Yeah, I think if Tommy steps up, Peck gets back to that. I think last season Peck was just expected to do everything on his own. I think they've brought in help for him in Klaus and Tommy. Paint Seal, again, was a spits and starts sort of player last season. But those four, if they all hit fire, I think Galaxy could be that team that we go, oh, they're the only ones maybe that could challenge Miami along with like LAFC and kind of the like.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, Peck is a beautiful player to watch as well, but obviously that doesn't deliver points you need. But yeah, he's a bit of a superstar. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he stuck around, and I reckon that as soon as Ricky Puig did his ACL again, he was probably, oh no, not again. But they have brought in Klaus, and they've made some other smart signings as we spoke about. But
yeah.
Right, last team on the board, forward cards. Sporting Kansas City. Saloy was a player that I always sort of like either won his card or I think I had his card, and I think he might have even been part of my first win on So Rare. But he has sort of tailed off, like, the odd good score. But, let's keep in mind, Sporting aren't a great side. Joveljic, they brought in from LA Galaxy, which is a bit of a surprise move. And I had some nice games, but again, if he doesn't score, then you're looking at sort of ugly like scores on So Rare. That's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
EJ in the team, Calvin Harris.
Yeah, I'd stay away from Sporting Kansas City, but if you are looking for a team that you maybe you can pick up really cheap and they might get you a couple of streaks every now and again, you can't go wrong with Saloy or Holovic.
Yeah, and that's about it. I can't believe we've been going on nearly 2.5 hours.
Hopefully we haven't just been talking to ourselves.
No, we've got some people, and I will put this out as a podcast tomorrow because I know a lot of people prefer to, as I do, like go out for a little walk and listen to it. But yeah, we've had some people in the chat. But yeah, no, that's a good breakdown. You certainly helped me anyway. Some of my built a little watch list here of players to go out and buy. Certainly won't be buying them today, looking at the prices of some of the guys, but I'll have to hope that I craft the odd one, but with my all-star essence when they go into the pool. But I don't think they go into the pool, will they, until not this Friday, the Friday afterwards.
Not even that, the Saturday, because of the later deadline.
Of course,
They go into, so it's on the 21st, I think it is. I might have got that date wrong. I think it's the 21st is the first game day. Yeah, it's the 21st of February. As soon as that ticks over to 3 o'clock, maybe even be a later deadline. I can't remember what the actual, but once you can't put any teams out anymore, you'll be able to craft them. So it may work if you craft a good one and get an arena team out there. Because the games, I think the first game is 7:30 our time, which is earlier than normal. They're trying to put some more European friendly times out there.
Yeah, it annoyed me like the games last season. They stick so many of them on at the same time, whereas if they separated them out and had like, at least one early game, it'd be better for UK viewers. But
yeah, they trialed it a bit last season, and then it seems to tail off. But I think they're doing it. I think they're expecting with the World Cup more eyes, so they're trialing it again, kind of thing. But you'll get some teams that will never have a game at that time if they're at home. Your Seattle's, your San Jose, stuff like that. There will always be your 2:30, 3:30 in the morning if they're at home. Minnesota tend to be midnight, 1:30 is their kickoffs.
That's not too bad though, is it? Normally that game when the team's on at sort of 12:30ish, I'll sort of tune in and watch it. But
yeah.
Just having a look to see who you're going to be challenging for Minnesota players.
What in terms of the bidding?
Yeah. Are you going to be going for a limited Minnesota stack?
I always end up with one in the end. I always tell myself I've got enough Minnesota players and they're rubbish. They're not going to win me anything. And then, a month into the season, I'm running 2 stacks or something like that. I normally try and pick up every season. I normally try and pick up the ones I don't have in a Minnesota shirt. So I'll probably look to buy Calendar, Triantis, and Fitz maybe and stuff like that, just because I haven't got them yet.
Who was the defender that I gave you? I think I've won his rare card and sent it over to you.
Morris Duggan. I've got. He's one of my. I think he might start more games than what people expect this season. He started the preseason game we've played, but yeah, he's a centre back, big German centre back.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully he sort of does a bit better for this season. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting. Any teams that have got sort of early stacks that. How come some of the goalkeepers have number ones minted already? I think a lot of all the number ones have been minted by the looks of it, or most of them anyway.
Also, MLS goalkeepers, not all of them wear number one. So, like last season at Minnesota, Dane Sinclair wore 97. I don't know what one he'll get at Miami.
Oh, sorry, he's asking about with regards to jersey mints. I see.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That they may not be wearing number one this year.
Yeah.
With so many, I think also as well, so many of them have moved. So rare probably don't actually know what number they're going to wear.
Yeah, very true. It's a bit difficult. But yeah, I do expect they'll do like the jersey mints sort of later on in the season, won't they? It normally takes like a month or so. But Drake Calendar, like it's his number 2 card that's up. So, I would imagine that he's got the number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, so we didn't have a number 1 last season because that was Clint Irwin the season before and he retired. And yeah, Sinclair was number 97. So I think they've assumed he's going to take the number 1 shirt.
Actually, I'm looking at the thing, like they've got Alex Smear as well as the number 2. So maybe if they don't know who the jersey, like who's going to be holding the number 1, they're just starting on number 2 for them. But
maybe. I
noticed a few number 2s as I was sort of scrolling through all the teams. But
yeah.
Probably new players they've put as number 2 just, until they know what the jersey number is going to be. But Yeah.
In terms of, I think you asked about teams with early fixtures that are good. The ones that seem to have good fixtures are
Yeah.
the ones that are in the CONCACAF. So they've got the good fixtures, but your risk of rotation.
Yeah, I did notice that. I think you posted it in the thing. This strength of schedule was done by Revs Sorare. So go and follow him or go and have a look on there if you want to pull it up. But yeah, as you said, I had a look through and it was like San Diego, easy, Cincinnati, easy schedule, Vancouver. Well, all of those are going to have extra games to start off with, providing San Diego don't go out tonight. They've got a 3-0 lead, I think. So, but they are playing in Mexico tonight against a decent team. So it's not out of the question that they lose. But if they don't lose, then they're going to have games midweek for the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be quite tough with them.
The only other ones that could have a easier run, you've got Dallas, who've got 4 home games, but Dallas are Dallas. So they've got maybe a better chance because they're at home.
Game against Toronto, but then they play Nashville, then they play LAFC.
Yeah. So they're not the first 4, but 4 out of the first 5. Sorry, are home games.
Yeah.
The ones that I might struggle, you got Seattle. Seattle only play 1 game at home. Miami don't have any home games in the first 5.
That's not stop people buying them, is it?
No, and they're away, but they're still expected to win every game, aren't they? So
yeah, well, they're playing LAFC, so it is a tough away game to start the season. Then they're away at Orlando, which is about as home game as you can get without being a home game. But again, a tough match. Then they're away at DC United, which is a bit of an easier game. Away at Charlotte, which never an easy game. They've got decent sort of support, Charlotte, and then away in New York. So yeah, you're right. First 5 for Miami away from home. But that is not going to stop people from spending huge amounts of money on Miami stacks, because you would expect after that first 5 they're going to smash. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because is it the first 5 game weeks have this boosted streak thing?
Yes,
yeah. A lot of people are going to be buying Miami stacks for that, and even like San Diego and Cincinnati, even Vancouver. They're the teams that people are going to want, but all of them. They've got all of them have got the extra games in midweek, which means rotation is going to be an issue. So maybe looking outside of that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. Right, I think we've been going on way too long anyway now. I apologise. I imagine a lot of people will be listening to the audio version when I post it tomorrow, and I apologise. You're going to have to probably do a good solid 12K walk to get all this in one sitting.
Or they're going to listen to us at 2 times speed. There will be really high-pitched chipmunk voices.
Yeah, exactly. But thanks for joining me, Hatton. Anyway, when we're doing Sorare stuff, we're going to try and do these weekly going forward. I've got a new permanent co-host who isn't with us this week, as I spoke about earlier, as in Hoodwink, who will be joining us. He's got some nice guests lined up. I believe next week we're going to be talking K-League, which, maybe Hoodwink's been saving himself for that. So we'll have that next week, which will be a lot of fun. And we'll keep going after that. I've been speaking to some other guests about coming on after that. But yeah, no, it'd be nice to be talking about Sorare again, even if we are coming to the tail end of the season. It's the start of the season for a lot of the leagues, isn't it? But it'll be a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, and I'm sure we'll get you back on to either mock you or praise you over like your review of the MLS in a month or 2. But
I'm expecting the first one.
It's good seeing your face again anyway, Hatton, and I am so glad that your internet held out for the main part. We only lost you briefly. But
yeah, apologies for that.
It was a lot better than I expected. As soon as it opened up and it was in the house, I was like, oh, thank God for that. At least it's not in the garage. Yeah. Anyway, that's everything from us this week. Thanks very much for joining us, Hatton, and we shall be back next week. As I mentioned earlier, I will be back hopefully, I think, this evening with Kev, Bob, and Sid. Tomorrow lunchtime with Hoodwink for an MFL ramble. Thursday or Friday, we're going to be ripping rule packs. At the moment, it's just myself and Bruce, although if it's on Friday, Kev will be joining us. So, yeah, busy week in the ramble area. But, yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.